Hello, my name is Melanie McDonald, and I'm of counsel at Sachs, Doernberger, and Vita. I'm here today with Ed Doernberger for this month's Partner Spotlight. Ed is based out of our Northeast office in Connecticut. He's been practicing law for over 40 years and has been exclusively representing policyholders for more than 20 years. Let's get started with the questions. Ed, what interested you in insurance coverage?
Well, that really goes back to a long story. When I first started practicing law, I started doing commercial litigation. And in the office that I was in a firm in Honolulu, Cage, Schutte, Fleming, and Wright, commercial litigation meant no family law, and it meant no personal injury law, but it included most everything. So in the area of commercial litigation, we touched on insurance coverage. I wouldn't say it was emphasized, but we had to deal with insurance coverage all the time. The first time that I really got involved with it actually didn't deal with litigation, but we were representing the owner of a piece of property who had a building on there, a high-rise that he no longer wanted because he was going to replace it. And so this was the first building that was taken down with explosives in Honolulu. And I was involved with my boss in putting together insurance coverage for that. Over the course of the next 20 plus years, I was involved in insurance coverage, both, let's say, on behalf of policyholders when they had disputes with insurance companies, but it wasn't a major part of my practice. And the second area was in recovery under insurance in order to be able to satisfy judgments that we might be able to get for our clients. So I had that background, and then starting with Tracy and Jeff, who I had known before, that's how I got really started in the insurance aspect of things.
I thought you were going to tell me that the man who decided he didn't want his building anymore, he torched it and then tried to collect insurance on it. That was a more legal way to get rid of the building. So how did you come to or decide to practice policyholder coverage law exclusively?
Okay. Now we get into a little bit of the history of the firm. When I joined in 2001, at the very beginning of the year, we were doing commercial litigation and I'll say we had an emphasis on insurance coverage litigation for our clients. When I started, we had just briefly, a short time before that, gotten Turner Construction as a client, which was very helpful in doing that. But we still had a variety of practice, other commercial litigation matters. We had still had a little bit of a bankruptcy practice where we represented creditors, not bankrupts. Tracy still had a little bit of bankruptcy trustee work. We still had a real estate department. We still did a little bit of personal injury work, although not much. So about 3 years, let's say 2 years after that, we were having one of our annual meetings. And at that point in time, we decided if we're really going to be the experts in insurance coverage for policyholders, we need to take that leap and say, this is what we're going to do. And the big question was, how do we do that? Not whether we should or not. We thought that this was a great area. There were not, especially in Connecticut, a lot of firms who represented policyholders exclusively. There were people who worked, we'll call it both sides of the aisle. Right. And you always wondered, if they were representing an insurance company one day, how good a job would they do for policyholders the next? So we made that decision to say, we're going to just do policyholder work exclusively. And we did things like close down our real estate practice. We uninvolved in the bankruptcy practice. We would still take commercial cases, but those were much more restricted than they had been before. There had to be a reason for taking it. For example, it was a client that I had been doing work for the last 15 plus years, or it was a case where we would get paid well, or it was a case that would enhance our reputation, those types of things. But there had to be a reason for taking it if it wasn't insurance coverage work.
All that background had, in all those other areas of law, had to be useful, though, in the insurance coverage business too.
Yes, especially with our big client being Turner Construction, a lot of my emphasis over the prior 20 plus years had been doing construction litigation. That was where I had basically, a lot of the commercial litigation that I had was doing construction litigation. Always a fascinating area. Just as a background, my favorite story was we were involved in litigation involving the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope on the top of Mauna Kea. And I had a personal tour to learn how telescopes work from the director of that facility. But knowing construction and having litigated in the construction area for 20 plus years was very helpful in learning the insurance coverage aspect of things.
I can see that. How have previous challenges influenced your goals?
Well, I think I've hinted at it before. The challenge of giving up parts of your practice to reach that goal of doing insurance coverage and being one of the renowned insurance coverage offices in the country is a goal. Just as a little bit of my personal history, I had been with a firm, Sachs Berman Insure, different Sachs, that was an SACHS, in Connecticut after I moved from Hawaii. And when that firm, let's call the word dissolved, a challenge that I had was, now I was decided that I was going to go solo and just do solo practice. And that challenge of working and building up a practice individually led directly into how do we go about building up the insurance coverage practice? How do we go about doing the requisite legwork to have clients to be able to build up that aspect of our work?
I didn't know you had had a solo practice. That's a challenge I've never wanted to take on.
It is an interesting way of practicing. I can tell you that after 4+ years of it, when I was speaking with Tracy and Jeff about the potential of rejoining with them, it was not a difficult decision to make, because to get back with people where you could actually have input and work with other people was a great thing to have happen. And it really, I think I was especially motivated to have collaboration again. And Jeff and Tracy had always been the collaborative types. And we have found over the many years, cumulative years of practice, that collaboration is the way to go and the only way that really works effectively for our clients.
This is a very collaborative firm, and I'm out in California, and you and I work together all the time on matters for Turner, and I do like that collaboration aspect. I'm physically back in the office today, and it's wonderful. After, I think we've all felt a little bit like solo practitioners at times over the past year with COVID and being isolated at home, and it's nice to be able to walk down the hall and ask a question, pop your head in somebody's door. So that collaboration aspect is definitely something that our firm is known for.
I think it's one of the things that separates us from a lot of other firms where we do not have individual practices. The sole goal that we have is achieving the best result for our client. And if someone else is able to do that better, there can be all kinds of reasons. One, you just don't get along with attorneys on the other side of a case, or someone may have a lot of depth of experience in a particular area that our goal is to help our clients work together to get the best result.
What are you passionate about?
I had to think about that a lot. And I feel like my answer is going to be, I think really what it is the quality of work, and to make sure that everything that Sachs, Doernberger, and Vita is turning out is the best that it can possibly be, not just in terms of the substance, but of the style, of the way that we put things together, of making sure that things are well punctuated, that citations are correct. People can understand the law and put forth principles, but if they can't spell, it's a turnoff to a mediator or an arbitrator or a judge. And you have to have the quality from things like all of your legal theories to your spelling to be able to get the best work product that you can. And I think that that's really what I feel most strongly about, is being able to get an office where our goals are to get the best quality of work for our clients.
That's great. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much, Ed, for answering some questions and letting us get to know a little bit more about the history of the firm.
Thanks, Melanie.